Hello there, gentlemen. I made this video because I found just now a way of measuring crankshaft stroke in order to find what the displacement is going to be of my newly rebuilt engine. I've installed the crankshaft, the rods and the pistons, and I didn't know to start with what the stroke was. So what I've done now is, well, I was having problems measuring using my vernier caliper without any support. So what I've done is I've used two of my cylinder head bolts and bolted them in their holes, and sort of across the piston top, and I've used a sturdy steel ruler, and it's a high quality one because I want it to be rigid, and I've mounted the ruler on the cylinder head bolts with some wire, so it's as tight as possible, it doesn't move. And then I've used my digital vernier caliper. It does have a depth gauge, which is, I mean, it's just, you can use it as a depth gauge as well. So what I did is I used my dial indicator. I don't know if you've got a dial indicator, but you probably could use this now, because this is in effect has become a an indicator anyway. So you can find, but you rotate your crankshaft until you find, you have to push this down whilst you're going downwards. So what we're going to look for now is the bottom dead center. So I'm going to go clockwise, turn a bit the engine until it settles. So now the engine has settled on the engine stand, I'm going to start going down. I'm going to go down all the way, or where I think all the way is. Then I'm going to bring my digital vernier down to the bottom, and if you want to, you might want to position it towards the center, so this whatever, so you get a reading off the center of the piston rather than any of the edges, because it might be more accurate, rather, because you get what's known as a piston rocking, and you want to go in the center. So you go down to the bottom. I found it before with a dial indicator. I'll do that. You have to put force down whilst turning. Right. Okay. Now I'm at cylinder number 2 is at bottom dead center, so it won't go any further. That's it. Right, now all I do is I want to measure the stroke of my crankshaft. That is how far the piston moves up and how far down, and you measure that. So I've zeroed my gauge and I'm at the bottom of the stroke, so I'm just going to bring the piston up as far as it will go and take a reading off the digital caliper, and that should help me find the stroke, the crankshaft strokes. Here it goes. Right, there we go. So we've got cylinder head bolt, I tighten them in just hand tight so they're nice and rigid. Then use some wire for my ruler, and then I use these are, I don't know, but you see these, they kind of lock in, but you don't want to do it too hard because you don't want to, first of all, damage your caliper, and but you do want it to be rigid. So you see, that's how it is. We've got a reading now. So it was at 0, and now it's minus 295, so the piston has travelled 2 79.95 millimeters so far. So if I just continue with this. Pistons coming up. It's a nice tight engine. I hope this helps someone. Right, where are we? So it will when it stops, I know that's it. There he goes. Oh, 59 this time. 58. There we go, 58. 79, 58. And you can see now that the piston started going down again. So it took my digital caliper as high as it, oh, whatever. Right. So now I know my piston travels 79.58 millimeters. That's its maximum travel. Now I think the stroke, I don't know if that's a stroke or if that's if I need to divide that number by 2, but I'm going to find out, and you better find out too. Okay, that's it. Good luck. Bye bye.